Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome to my video of my trip to opening day of Hersheypark in, on March 30th, 2018. I'm making this video for both my subscribers, for coaster folks, but also my friends, Melissa, Anya, Randy, Frank, who went with me yesterday to Hersheypark's opening day. So to start off with, I'll let you know, I'm going to give some quick ride recaps and so forth, but I'm also just going to give a general overview of the park, how everything went and so forth, and there'll be videos coming later where I review specific rides more in detail. But for now, I'm just trying to make a general overview. So first things first were the operations on the opening day, and there's my ugly mug and Melissa, and there is Anya and Randy sitting down. The operations were good. Considering it was opening day, the only real problem I had was we did get a fast pass because it looked like it was going to be really crowded. When we first got in, there were big long lines and people everywhere, so we got a fast pass. And unfortunately, that took about half an hour because they were having some problems with their system. So hopefully they'll get that sorted out. And then it turned out we actually didn't need the fast pass because of the weather. You could see 1 minute it was sunny, 1 minute it was pouring rain, so we really didn't even need the fast pass. And I think Hersheypark has actually changed the way that they do their fast pass. In the past, you pretty much got right on the ride. There were specific times you could ride, but you pretty much got right on the ride. Now you kind of just move forward in the queue a little bit, which is okay, I guess. If there were long lines, like 2 or 3 hours, it would definitely be worth it. But in this case, we basically, if we even used the fast pass, we just ended up right in the spot where we would have been if we had just gone through the regular line anyway. So, and throughout the day, a lot of the coasters were closed actually, but they would open periodically. I guess some of them were closed because of the rain and so forth. So we did eventually get to ride everything except Trailblazer. Trailblazer was closed all day. And one good thing was, I don't know if it's always like this or it's because it was early in the season, almost everything was running with no brakes. I really noticed this on the Comet in particular. I don't think I've ever ridden that coaster where it didn't slow down over the station, but it was going a lot faster through the end of the ride. Unfortunately, because I didn't find it very comfortable because those trains are a pretty tight fit. Even though they are classic PTCs with the swing down lap bar, it was a little bit uncomfortable for me. But otherwise, we had a great time. You can see I took a lot of video of all the rides. Everything was running pretty well. Great Bear was awesome. I really think this is an underrated inverted coaster. It's a really good ride. I know people talk about the ending of it not being that great, but in my mind, it's really good all the way to the very end. It's really fast. It's really forceful. It's intense. And you can see right here it was raining, and then sometimes it would change, like right here in the emblem, and suddenly it just changes to a blue sky. I don't know how that happens. We did have, though, we had umbrellas, we had, raincoats and so forth, so we stayed dry, and fortunately that kept a lot of the crowd down, so we were able to pretty much just walk right on everything. So it was a good time. So good job to Hersheypark for the way they handled opening day. I thought it went really well. Even though it was cold outside, it was cool. It was pleasant. The food operations were really good. Ride operations were really good. So we were all happy with that. So one thing I do want to say about Hersheypark is I find this, in my opinion, to be one of the better parks. I'm almost saying it's a destination park. And the reason I say that is for one particular reason. I think there are a lot of parks out there that have a lot of coasters. Hersheypark currently has 14. There are some parks, I'm not going to name names, but there are some parks that have 17, 18, 19 coasters. The difference between Hersheypark and those other parks, in my mind, is that a lot of times at some of these other parks, a lot of those coasters are just gimmicks. They're the tallest this, or they're the fastest this, or they have the most inversions of that. Hersheypark has a collection of really solid, fun rides. There are not too many record breakers here that I know of. Maybe Skyrush is in competition for having the most airtime. But Hershey just has a really good collection of roller coasters. like this, the spinning Wild Mouse thing, it's perfectly themed. The inside is so much fun going through this. The queue is a lot of fun. The ride itself is a lot of fun, and it's a basic model that exists elsewhere, but they've done a really good job with it. The Lightning Racer is a lot of fun. It may not be the best coaster ever. It doesn't have a lot of airtime, and this is my complaint with most GCIs. I've never experienced that much airtime on them, but it's a good ride. And by the way, any footage that I took during the park, it was with the park's permission. I definitely got permission for doing that. So this Wild Mouse was running out of control. You can probably hear me cackling and all my friends screaming and carrying on because the brakes were just really not on very much. You can see they're open right there. So this thing was just out of control. I don't know if it runs like that all year. It seems to me the last time I rode it was not like this. So this is the good thing about Hersheypark. It's a really strong park. I think they do have a Hershey hotel, so this would be somewhere that I would, if I were coming from the West Coast, say, or I were coming from outside of the United States and going on a trip, maybe up and down the East Coast, this is definitely a park that I would hit up. They have a strong collection of roller coasters. Fahrenheit right here is an excellent ride. It's very smooth. It's action-packed from start to finish. It's kind of a short ride, but it's good from start to finish. It's a lot of fun. The only ride really that is kind of so-so in my opinion is Storm Runner. It's a very good ride, don't get me wrong. It's just very, very short. And unfortunately, Storm Runner was down a lot of the day. We actually did get to eventually get on it. I got some footage when they were pushing it back and forth, trying to get it to go up the hill or to go up the launch. The operator said something about the rain causing this issue. I don't know about that. And here, by the way, is Anya, Lissy, and Frank on the Vekoma Boomerang. Naturally, I sat this out. I've ridden it before. I don't need the credit. And I hate boomerangs. I hate old school Vekomas. I don't like aero coasters too much. I don't like the over-the-shoulder restraints. I don't like my head being banged around. I'm just too old for that nonsense. So I set this one out. But Lissy, Anya, and Frank had a good time on it, and that's all that matters. So again, to get back to what I was saying, if you're coming to the United States or you're in the area, this is an excellent park to stop at. I almost think if I had the choice between going to this and say Great Adventure, which is probably the closest park in terms of number of coasters, I would choose Hersheypark over Great Adventure. The only thing that Great Adventure has that really stands out to me is El Toro, of course, but Skyrush is neck and neck with El Toro. I have to say Skyrush is a destination coaster. It's probably my favorite steel coaster. I don't really do top 10s. I just kind of say, oh, this is my favorite, that's my favorite. Skyrush is definitely one of my favorite coasters, and I think Fahrenheit is too, just because it gives a really good ride. And then on top of that, you've got the Wildcat. Now, it's a little rough, but it's a fast-paced ride. You've got this great Coco Cruiser. I mean, man, this thing is worth going out of your way for. I even had to take some on-ride footage of it because I was so impressed with this ride. And then you've got, I mean, good rides, good solid rides like Lightning Racer, the Comet, Storm Runner. Great Bear is an excellent ride. It's way more intense than it looks on the ground. Unfortunately, when it was first built, I didn't get to ride it, and it was a little while before I rode it. And it was way more intense than I expected it to be, but in a good way. Not so intense you can't ride it over and over and over. I find some of these, say, the Batman clones, those are not rides that I could ride over and over, and if it's going backwards, forget about it, I ain't getting on it. But Great Bear, you can definitely ride over and over. It's intense without being sickening or nauseating. So, and the one good thing about I guess this kind of fits what you like, but in the hollow where all these rides are located, Comet, Skyrush, SooperDooperLooper, and Great Bear, it's just a tangle of track everywhere. It does kind of make it difficult to get good pictures of just one element or something like that on the ride, because there's just track going everywhere. But it's kind of neat, and it's certainly a change from when I first went to Hershey years and years ago, where it was just the big rides were the Comet, the SooperDooperLooper, and Trailblazer. That was all they had the first time I went to Hersheypark. So overall, Hershey's a great park. If you haven't been, you should check it out. Definitely go for Skyrush. Of course, you can go on the Hershey tour too. You can see all their candy and play some of their games and so forth. So definitely a park worth checking out. So that's going to be it for this spotlight. I will have reviews of Hershey coasters coming sometime in the future. I'm going to Six Flags America on Monday, so I'll do a video for that as well. But for now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Enjoy the ride.